Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. And today we're going to be talking about the Tufa Feist. So over here we can see a slide of the Tufa Feist and that the analysis team at the club has given us. And what an amazing job they have done. But let's dive a little bit more into detail. So over here we can see a front view image of the Tufa, and it's honestly, or say so much about the Feist. It's honestly it's such a beautiful ship. You can see like how the wings are extended over here as it is in flight mode, and how all of like the components come together. So now here's a front view, and we have a rear view over here. We can see quite a few of like the primary thrusters, the secondary thrusters, and a few other neat and amazing things. Now, if we go over from this and we go into the blueprint over here, what we can see is how the wings are actually going to operate. So these will basically be fold in on both sides in order to cloak it at that time, as well as it looks like here are wing mechanical shields as well, which obviously help the wing from or protect the wing from the rear. Now we also have a frontal view. We can see the cockpit itself, and then the cloaking rock armor as well that is on top of the cockpit. Over here we can see the main cannon, the two side cannons. We can see a few more interesting small things here at the front as well as we can see the primary thruster, the secondary thruster as pointed out previously. Now, just for like emphasis on how amazing this ship is, I mean, like, we have the functionality that the wings can basically close in, and then it basically cloaks itself. These panels over here would hide over the thrusters, and then they would basically close off everything, as well as this bottom section over here that would close over all of like the axis sections in order to make sure that it has no visible, almost metallic or metal structures like visible in order to like bounce off of a light source, which is something really cool. So now let's dive a little bit more into what the details for the ship are. So the crew that you're going to have is a captain and a co-pilot. That's very important. We'll take note of that now, and then we'll talk more about that. It's going to have a medium-sized mess hall. Its length is 20 MTR. Its width is 30. Its height is 10.5. Now the components. Now here in the components we have a small power supply, a warp drive, a radar, tractor beam, shield generator, impulse engines, thrusters, weapon hardpoints, 3, and these are small, and then it has 4 large weapon hardpoints, 1 small missile bay, and then 1 small hull reinforcement, and 1 small countermeasure bay. Something very important to take note of over there is this is basically going to be a burst machine. It would literally, this ship is going to be able to burst through enemy ships in order to get to their cargo as quick as possible. That's the whole ambush aspect that it has to it itself, and so on, that you can get behind your opponent and surprise them with the amount of firepower that you have. Now, we also saw recently the crew image, and this allows us to break more down. So what we know about Tufa. So what we know is it's a species, and it's a faction, and it's a manufacturer as well. So in this image we can see Mad, Ooster, Oni as well, and we can see the Tigu as well, and then we see Tufa back here. And this may also be a Tufa Mammoth as well, but as of right now we don't fully know. So from what we know with Tufa, or what the team has basically told us with Tufa, is that they announced that they'll be actively deploying the Oni in mid and the Pirate Den stations. Now, when they mentioned over here, they said nothing of Ooster at this time, but they probably just left that out as a small section. So the Pirate Den is a black market station for banished faction members to conduct their commerce. Since it's unannounced faction, it probably has to be one of the 3 unknown banished factions, which I think is so freaking cool, that if you are looking to do piracy and bounty, and maybe not so much bounty hunting, but more so piracy, that there would be a faction or a section of the metaverse that would basically be able to host you. So now if we go over here to the captain's seats, we can see over here where the co-pilot would sit. We can see the captain's seat back here, and we can see a whole bunch of monitors around this area. If we dive down a little bit more into the interior section, we can see a little bit more of like the mess hall down here to the left hand side, and then we see something over here that looks like a sleeping chamber, because these cushions on the seats of the mess hall and on the captain's seat is also designated over here. So it looks like it could be a potential sleeping pod, but we don't fully know right now. So we were also given a little bit more of a brief like overlay as to, or new images that came into being. So here we see a hub that comes out when you are about to engage a target, and this carries over to 3 different images. This image over here, when it is an actual combat, we can see that there's a hub that pops out from the cockpit in order to, you know, maybe say target. So this hub as well is seen over here, and we can see the massive main cannon that they were referring to, and all of its beauty. So if we do go up here, a lot of you may think that that the Feist is related, or the Feist, sorry, is related to the trailer, which we determined that it is not, as we can see the rear engine compartments look nothing the same as the Feist right now. So as we can see, it's unloading. It does look like an asteroid, so it would still most likely be a Tufa manufactured ship, but it is not the Feist, but which is something really awesome to look forward to, in order to say there's still more ships to come. So over here we have a few action shots, so we can see as it's flying through all the asteroids, as we can see over here as it's basically stationed currently, and there's a ship that's warped in. Now we have no data on the ship because it looks like none of the ships that we currently have out within the GAO, and it's honestly something so cool and interesting to think about, that there is a potential for another ship to come in the future. Well, obviously there is, but just looking at this design, like, what is it going to be? So here we also have another action shot that was taken, as you can see that it's flying through the asteroid field, which will most likely be the main location that we would use the Tufa Feist. So as we go down over here, we can see a skin basically that has been brought in. Now the skin itself doesn't look all too different. It still has your asteroid looking outer layer and everything like that. What we do know is it gives more of a red like color theme to the cockpit itself, and more of a shiny metallic kind of feel to the Tufa Feist. But other than that, currently it doesn't look all too different from the normal Feist. It may be a little bit of a darker pigmentation as well, maybe on the asteroids themselves. But otherwise, I mean, like, there's still so much more that we can talk about the ship, and there's still so much more for us to uncover within Star Atlas itself. But if this was something that you liked, and please do leave a like and subscribe, and join the Discord if you do have any more questions on the Tufa Feist itself. And I'll see you in the next one.